Reflexology works on an individual basis, facilitating your body's own potential for healing and improved well-being. Unknown author. Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I'm a triple board certified family, obesity, and lifestyle medicine physician, and I am the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, a holistic direct primary care practice. Did you know that 80% of lifestyle-related chronic diseases within our communities are preventable, with poor diet being the primary culprit? Now, contrary to what we thought, that it was our unfortunate genes, the good news is that we can make changes together to improve our health and quality of life. So that's what this podcast is all about. The Living at Your Finest podcast is devoted to helping families to live at their finest well-being using a holistic approach with a healthy lifestyle to nourish and flourish as a whole, vibrant, and healthy champion. So join me and my guests as we share transformational and sustainable skill sets from our health and wellness journey to support you and your families in achieving optimal well-being. Ready to live at your finest? Well, let's get to it. Hello and greetings to Living at Your Finest podcast show, all the health champions out there. If this is your first time, a warm welcome to you and thanks for stopping by. And to our usual listeners and viewers, thank you ever so much for showing up. I believe it's safe to say that this is the busiest time of the year, of the season. And so I hope that you and your loved ones are all doing well and you are embracing the joy of the season and letting go of stress. Well, I am excited today because this podcast episode is going to be packed filled with how to embrace peace and joy because my special guest speaker, this is her area of expertise. She is Evie Fleming. She is a LPN, but now a reflexologist, and she loves everything that has to do with mind, body, and connection. So I'm so honored that she's with me today on the podcast show. We're going to be talking about things, the wonders of flexology. There's a lot for me to learn because I have no clue what it is. I just know that it makes you feel good. She's also going to share some new developments in the practice and where to find her and her expertise. All right. So, but before we get started, I want to give a brief introduction. So Evie Fleming is an LPN that is now practicing flexology in Georgia. She has 20 years of experience in healthcare, and she loves to help people take charge of their health in a holistic way. That led her to flexology, and she helps her clients to connect not just the mind, the body, and the spirit. So a warm welcome to you. We're grateful to have you on the podcast show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, so please share with us where did this all begin? Where did it begin? You an LPN, 20 years of experience, and then you dived into flexology. So I love hearing background stories. So can you please take us with you to where it all began?
Yes, probably I think it was in the probably time frame of maybe 2012 or 2013. I started to really start to explore more different avenues of ways to move my body and connect with my body. I started a little bit with yoga, and then I went through a little bit of a detox program to just like detox my system. Sometimes you don't even realize, for me, how much inflammation and upset in my system I had. And so just to start to eliminate some things and clean out my system as well. And then I started looking toward other ways to balance out my system. And then someone said, "Hey, have you ever tried reflexology?" And I was like, "No, I've never tried this." And I was also looking at something that I could move to as well from my nursing as well. What was a good transition place? And so as I began to explore it more, I just really fell in love with it, and how just through your feet, your hands, and your ears, you can really connect to your whole body system. So it was one of those things of I worked on myself first. I
Okay.
started here and then moved outward.
Nice. Oh, I love it. I love it. So, can you share for somebody that is listening? You did say hand, feet, and ears. I didn't even know the ears was part of it, but can you tell us? Can you share what that entails? What does it mean? When you worked on it on yourself, what kind of benefits did you get? And what should we, I mean, people like us that have only heard about it by the side, what is it all about and what does it really do?
Well, it is based on theories that have been studied and looked at, that you have neural pathways that run through the body, and your feet themselves have over 7,000 nerve endings in them, as well as your hands and your ears. And so what is happening in a reflexology session is they have looked at like the mapping of the body,
Okay.
over your feet, and you are applying pressure and manual techniques to those different reflex points. And therefore, that energy, that pulse is traveling up to that system in the body. And so people are always in amazement of things that I can locate in their feet that maybe they didn't fully disclose in an intake session.
Mhm.
And then they say, how do you know that? Well, I can feel this on this part of your foot where your spine is located. It's indicating this. And a lot of people who are use their hands a lot, who sometimes begin to have a little bit of arthritis and neuropathy,
Mhm.
all of that you can get more assistance and maybe some relief through the reflexology, because you're connecting to your circulation, you're working lymphatic techniques. And usually when I do people's ears, they're usually people who sometimes suffer from more upper body system
Okay.
stuff like migraines, tinnitus, that type of stuff, because you're trying to get closer to the source a little bit. But the mapping of the body is on the hands, it's also in the ears as well. And I think I always love to see when my clients make those connections and then they start to have more awareness of their body and how they're carrying themselves in their daily life. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Oh my goodness. Now I would see my ears a different way now. Yeah.
I
So
know.
you said something about the feet and then I like that you showed us the feet, right? And all the different reflex. So does that also coincide with grounding? Like when people say they take off their shoes and they go on the ground, or is more flexology more what you do in terms of, I mean, want to know what the difference is between when people say they're grounding versus what you do, or do they complement each other?
They definitely complement each other. Usually, most every time when I'm seeing my clients, I always give them homework at home. And one of the things that I do say is to take off your shoes and to walk, because we have lost, not sometimes, we definitely have lost that connection from our feet up into the brain, that sole of the foot making connection with the earth. And we know that the earth has different resonances. And when you go outside, this is why you feel better when you put your feet upon the ground and you connect to those ions outside. So one of the exercises I will give to my clients is, if you know a place that you can trust walking outside grass, go outside, put your feet on the grass, like really move your muscles in your feet, use a tennis ball, exercise your feet, do some exercises, because how you are walking and putting your feet upon the earth will radiate up into the body and how you are carrying yourself. So yes, grounding, I'm always encouraging people to go out and ground and
And
walk on
ground.
some surfaces that feel really different, so you can activate your neural pathways in that way.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for giving us that explanation and telling us, just really giving us the fact that they complement each other and it all helps with that holistic approach.
Yeah.
Now, and if someone was asking and they were listening, how long does it take? How many sessions? What does it look like? When should they expect to notice any difference with, the flexology?
Well, the one thing I tell people is you have to realize it's not going to be a one and done. If
Yeah.
you developed something and you know how long it took for that to come on, it's going to take a little bit, come back and rework the body and retrain the system. Some
Mhm.
things I do have immediate result in, especially if somebody's having like a pain. They can definitely see their pain level lower in that way. But the repetitiveness is, we're trying to reestablish a lifestyle. We're trying to reestablish a way of being. And you coming periodically, it's like a check-in and make sure that you're still on path. Yes, eventually you may get the hang of it and be on your own, but it's like you take your car in for maintenance. You want to take your
Yeah.
system in and say,
Yeah.
let me make sure I'm on track and make sure I'm staying ahead of everything and staying in awareness of my system.
Yeah, Yes, and it reminds me of the tank, if your tank is completely empty
Yeah.
and you're like, oh shoot, my tank is empty, and then you're trying to fill it, you're going to take longer to get it filled
Yeah.
versus you making sure that, when it's just halfway, get it filled and not wait till when you're completely depleted.
Oh, I
So,
get, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to be on the I need a fix kind of a thing. Now I need you to fix it. It's more like, let me see how I can be on the other side of it, which is a lot of what drew me to the holistic measures. How can we stay ahead and develop good daily practices for our, for our journey here on this earth, right?
you said it well, our journey on Earth, as long as we're on planet Earth, we're just going to have to keep working on it and doing it in a holistic way, though, right? Where, as a doctor, I was trained in the traditional healthcare system where there's a pill for every ill, but then we realized that those pills cause another problem. So how about the way the body naturally is built? It's built to heal itself if we go back to the roots, So
Yeah.
that's why I connected so well with you. And I was like, yes, I need to get her on the podcast. And I need to also come and experience at your studio. So I definitely will be a client coming to just experience what you're talking about, flexology. But, I'm really big on whole person care and whole person health. So thank you so much for doing that work that you do. Now, would there be any like contraindications or like people that this is not more favorable for? What would you say? I mean, we hear all the great benefits, but just in case somebody was listening, in my mind, I'm thinking no, that this is great for everyone. But I'm asking you as the expert, I guess to follow up on that question, you said keep it as a maintenance, but how often? Is it like every day or like maybe every 2 weeks? What does that look like in your practice?
Well, to answer the first question, the contraindications would be like if you had something, fungal or contagious happen on your feet that would be transferred from one person to another. That would be like, okay, we would need to clear that up before you could come see me. The other thing is if you've had a recent break or fracture, I don't want to manipulate or mess with your foot while it is in a healing mode. And so those are probably big flags for me. I would ask in the beginning to see what is going on with your feet injury wise in that way. As far as getting a session, if someone is in pain, I usually will tell them to let's see if you can come every week. Once I work on your body, you want to give it like maybe 2 to 3 days to just integrate before I start to work on you again to let that restoration happen. So if we're having pain, I'll say let's do some sessions consecutively a little bit and get on top of that, because if you can't get on top of the pain, you can't heal. And then you can start to space it out and then look at a maintenance thing. But most of my clients come to see me every month. Some of them don't make it that far. They're like, I think I need to come next week. But it's all about listening in your body, and that's what I want them to develop. Like when they can listen that it's time to do a reset, it's time to come in, because my sessions are designed to take the system into that more parasympathetic nervous system so it can heal. And if you're high stress and you have a job where you're high, there's a lot going on, you need that moment to like just disconnect. So
Yeah, I mean, parasympathetic rest and digest is well needed to get
yeah.
us out of the fight or flight mode. So yes, awesome. And I am assuming that the session is based on the person, the need in terms of 30 minutes, an hour. Is that based? How do you determine how long that session is, or is it a standard session for everyone?
I usually do a standard hour session if we're
Okay.
just going to do basic. But if you're going
Okay.
to start to add stuff on, then we add on increments of it.
Okay.
And if I'm in the session and we do one and I feel like, oh, next time I think we need to add this will be another add on, then I usually let them know ahead of time. But for the most part, I say if you're coming to me, plan to spend an hour. If it's your first time, an hour and a half. So I get to talk, look at
Nice.
you and explore everything. So we make sure that we have the right intention and we're going in the right direction when we start your session.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to coming to you and getting that, my hands and my feet and my ears, all of that. Well, connecting with its natural healing sauce and power. So So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. My goal on this podcast is to empower, educate, and encourage you to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest, body, mind, and spirit. Of note, the information provided here is for educational purposes only and does not substitute as medical advice. Please discuss your healthcare needs with your licensed medical professional. If you are in need of a compassionate and comprehensive holistic physician or know someone who is, please reach out through my website, livewellness.com, for a meet and greet. It will be my honor to talk to you. Are we connected on social media yet? I share more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily. So please join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Living at Your Finest Wellness, where we can learn together and stay connected. Lastly, please subscribe to iTunes if you have not done so already, and share the podcast within your circle of influence. An extra step? Leave a review and let me know what topics or discussions you would like to hear more of. Thanks in advance. It is always a thing of joy to hear from you. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
So I want to dive into a different aspect of the podcast where we get to know you as an individual, and then we'll give you an opportunity to just share how we can, listeners and anyone else that would like to partake of your services want to, know how to reach out to you. So are you ready for one or two questions?
Yes.
All right. So of course, the podcast is called Living at Your Finest Podcast. So could you please share with us, what do you do to unwind? We already know that you're great in flexology, and so anything outside of that. So what do you do to unwind, to help you live at your finest well-being?
Well, one thing that I do, and it's still working in a way, but I teach yoga. And I have found that even though I have a small group of people, it too helps me to have that time to sit and do something that gets me back in my body. I feel just as refreshed as they do. So if I do anything to unwind, it would be a body movement. I definitely love walking. I love to walk outside. I love to find a good park, a good place to walk. I'm an outdoor person. So if I was trying to unwind, I would do something outside, even if it was just to go outside and rake some leaves. I would just want to be out in where it's more expansive, where I can feel like I can breathe and relax a little bit.
Nice. I love it. And I can testify to that. Her, if you're not following her on social media, you need to, because she is always outdoors. And I mean, even if she's not outdoors and she's in the house, everywhere is the bright, you see the light coming in. And I love it. Very good. All right. Another question. Tell us something that you would tell your 90-year-old self if you're projecting. Like, what would be one thing you're proud of to tell your 90-year-old self that you did well on, and you give yourself a pat on your back?
That I moved in a direction to be more my authentic self, and to be, and to not, as I was younger, I did it a lot, but now more, I don't repress what I am feeling. I stay more connected in that way and stay in more awareness. So I would be proud of myself of being courageous to keep taking next steps and next steps, because leaving my corporate job and just going out on my own and just doing this and every day just jumping on social media, like, I just will applaud my tenacity and my persistence in moving forward each day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I'm getting goosebumps as you just said that. Yeah, leaving corporate job it's not for the weak for sure. So, all right. I have just one last question, and I would love for you to share what adventure you have ahead of you, how we can stay in touch with you. So my last question for you is, since we're in the holiday season, is there a favorite song or a movie that really aligns with you that you want us to know about?
A favorite song or movie? Wow. I'm definitely a Motown Christmas girl. And I think the one song that always makes me feel like, okay, the holidays are here, is the song Gee Whiz, It's Christmas. I always love to hear that song. So if I hear that song, then I feel like it's officially the holidays. I don't know why, and I heard
Even if you hear it in October, it's officially Christmas.
I heard it yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. It's one of my
Yeah.
songs. But as far as movies, I do watch, I do like to watch a lot of holiday movies. I can't really, I mean, there's so many. I've seen some that have like, I think it was This Christmas or something else. They had a lot of dancing and different people in it. I like to watch things that have a lot of like like vibrant energy and music
Mhm.
and stuff in them. Those are the holiday movies I would be more prone
Inclined
to.
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to know you on a deeper level. So we know that you're an expert in reflexology, but it was good to also learn about you. So please share with us, how can we stay in touch with you if listeners or viewers want to, explore and, learn about what you do? Please share how we can be in touch.
Well, I have a work page on Facebook, which is Tree Evolution LLC, where I post stuff, and I also post on my personal page, which is Evie Fleming. And on my personal page is where I on Sundays at 2 o'clock I always do the mindset reset that you see, where I'm outside, where I encourage everybody to be intentional for the week. And I also have a Instagram account, which is Evie_FLEM. So if they want to watch and see what I'm up to in that way as well. If they're looking for a reflexologist, do know that I'm part of the American Reflexology Certification Board here for the United States. I'm currently hold the place of secretary. And if you go on arcb.net, up in the top, you'll see where it says find a reflexologist. You can put in your zip code, your city, and you can find someone that's certified in reflexology if you don't happen to be in the Georgia area. But yeah, so all of those places, they can find me, and my website, which is tree-evolution.com. If you're here in Georgia and you want to schedule a session with me, you can go there and you can click onto my schedule.
Yes, very good. Thank you. I didn't even realize that, the certification, yes, is huge, but I didn't even know that, you could find on that link. So thank you for sharing it. And I'm going to put that all in the show notes so that, they can have easy access. So all our viewers and listeners will have access to that. Is there any new development in the practice? I know that was part of one of the topic points. Any new developments that you want to share before we close out the podcast?
Well, I know for sure that I want people to know that reflexology is more and more growing. There are more practitioners coming into our community every year. And we are working to, of course, next year, we're going to be working more and try to work with the legislators to see about making sure that, all of the reflexologists have their taxonomy numbers, that you can have, be able to file for this, because some people want to come to us and they're just saying, oh, is it recognized and covered in that community? So our big thing in 2025 is to really push and move into those areas and to make aware of what a great modality and how reflexology really can complement what you are currently doing in your wellness practice. So
Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, all the best with that. So at the moment, it's not covered by insurance. It's cash pay, or is it?
Some people can do it. I have some people who have done it through the HSA.
Okay.
They used it, and I have had someone who filed it under disability. They have been able to do it. So you have to look in to see what is covered, and some people have gotten it covered.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's definitely
So we want to
the doors are
standardize
open.
it. We want to standardize it so that, I think it's a great thing to have. Certainly. I mean, my practice is a holistic practice, and I will very, very quickly send patients your way because, it complements the whole person's care, and you're starting from the feet and, all the components of the body. So, yes, thank you so much for sharing about the new developments in practice. And it was really wonderful to share the space with you and learn about flexology. Reflexology.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much again for your time. And to our listeners, thank you. Thank you. I hope you have learned so much as I have. This world of reflexology is a lot to tap into, and it's whole person's care. It's a holistic mind, body, spirit that is well needed. So as you've heard with your head and your ears, I want you to explore just using the service, even if you're not in Georgia and you can't reach out to our wonderful guest speaker. Please go to the website that she mentioned and use this to complement your health and well-being. So until next time, I want you all to stay safe during the holiday season. Stay stressless. Go outdoors, as we have heard. Go spend outdoors. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and I spent my half of the day outdoors, and it was so refreshing. I didn't even want to go back in. But yes, outdoors is magical. So please, you guys, enjoy the peace and laughter of the season, but try not to get overwhelmed. And if you feel the overwhelm, just go outside and look for a reflexologist to help you
Yes.
deal with it all. So until next time, you all take care. Know that you deserve to live at your finest because you are worth it. Bye.